Hello, hi. Thank you for being here. My name is Kaitlyn Michelle, and let's talk life and esoterics. So I hope you all had a great Friday the 13th, full of divine feminine goddess wisdom and transformational energy. I talked a bit about Friday the 13th. Last episode did a numerological breakdown of that. So if you missed that and you're interested, you can go back in the archives and re-listen to that. Sorry, I'm just trying to take a deep breath here because this has been quite a day, quite a morning for me. But this is my free time. My husband is very nice and watching our son for the time that it takes me to talk to you here. It feels nice to have that support, but I did not get a lot of sleep last night. My son, he sleeps in the bed with us. He's almost 14 months old. And we're coming to the end of breastfeeding, I think. Kind of sad. I feel a little bit better about it today than I have in the past couple days since my milk just started really dwindling down. But he spent hours latched to me this morning. I don't know what time it was when it started, but it could have been from like 3 a.m. till almost 6 a.m. and he was latched and just like, he has teeth too. So I did not really sleep very well. It was hard. So then getting up with him and just doing the normal routine was a bit harder for me today. But in that vein, let's just all take a deep breath. I don't know how your days have been. I hope they've been great. But regardless, let's all just take a deep breath in and out. I really love doing that. I use that as a tool, actually, parenting, because I am entering that toddler phase. There's a lot more emotions that are coming up, both within me and within him, within my son. And so I do try and catch everything at the very beginning of the wave, and kind of direct him like, oh, okay, well, let's both take a deep breath in and then out. And even if he's not following, he's listening to me do it, and that seems to be enough to help calm him a bit, so we can get to the bottom of what he's trying to communicate or why he's feeling what he's feeling. Of course, he's not very verbal yet. He says mama and dada, and then he uses pointing or like banging to indicate anything else that he wants at the moment. But anyway, so I pulled a couple oracle cards for all of us here, and wouldn't you know it, I used 2 decks this time. And I used the same deck that I did in the second episode when I pulled oracle cards for us all. And this is the Audacious Action Angels deck. And the last time I pulled Wild Roses and Charge It. It had a lion on it. This time I only pulled one from this deck and then one from another. And I have shuffled this deck many, many times because I've used it quite a few times since episode 2. And between then and now, I have pulled the Wild Roses card about 4 or 5 times. Doesn't matter how much I shuffle. I even change up how I'm shuffling. It's not like the card is bent or anything. There's nothing to indicate why it would keep coming up other than it being a message that's still very much relevant. So, wouldn't you know it, it came up again when I was pulling for today. So if you missed the second episode when I first talked about this card, I'll do a quick recap here because it is apparently still relevant to us all as we're sitting here. It's about a positive and wild energy that's taking hold, but one that's coupled with vulnerability, maybe tied to being in an environment that may or may not be ideal. But regardless, you are blooming and daring to survive and thrive and be beautiful. And the card also says that this is the essence of an intuitive life. I almost feel like I need to change my show name to Wild Roses with Kaitlyn Michelle or something. I don't know. How do you feel about that? I'll let you weigh in on that. But this card seems very persistent. And then the other card that I pulled, this was from a Dorian Virtue deck. It's the Daily Guidance from Your Angels Oracle Cards deck. And this one is Release and Surrender. And what it says directly on the card, it says, we shower you with blessings of our radiant love. Open your arms and release the challenges that you've held tightly gripped within your hands. Open your hands, arms, and heart to our love and assistance. And then I won't read from the booklet, but the booklet pretty much just says that we're holding on very tightly to something. And also reminds us that surrendering is not the same thing as giving up. Surrendering is letting go and simultaneously having faith or the belief that things will come together in a better way than if we're trying to do it ourselves. So that I think is very apropos for kind of what I've been going through lately. And I hope this speaks to you too, because this is meant to be for all of us. But I thought I've been working on this. I really thought that I have been, but it seems that maybe I have some more work to do. I definitely think I have more work to do. So this last Friday the 13th, the day of transformation, I think I had mentioned in last week's episode that I had planned to do something transformational. And that was sitting with ayahuasca. I've never done that before, or anything like that. And I had quite a lot of expectations going in. I've heard stories. I watched a lot of documentaries. I even ordered a book to read more about it. So I was so thoroughly prepared, like I do. And I was ready for a transformation. And if you've never sat with ayahuasca before, you start off the ceremony by stating your intention. And my intention was healing on the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels, all 4. And then within that, as I was waiting for it to kick in, I added also just working on transmuting any trauma that I carry, whether it's mine or from my lineage, and then also healing my inner child. So this was all of what I was trying to accomplish. Sounds like a lot, and also it sounds too simple. But I had high expectations. I thought I would be able to really tackle all of this in one sitting. And I mean, they say that an ayahuasca ceremony equals like 10 years of therapy, something like that. So anyway, I had high expectations, and the medicine I received was kind of, I don't want to say it was disappointing, because I received a lot, but I also know I didn't let go enough. I really didn't like the feeling of needing to let go. And this, I think, is perfectly encapsulated in the, just as a side story here, a couple years ago, I was getting surgery, and it was a surgery that usually patients are put under general anesthesia for, completely out. And I was really scared to be completely out, completely unconscious, completely vulnerable. And so I begged to only use local. And so that's actually, they agreed. They only used local. And so I know everything that happened during that surgery. I felt a little bit more than I otherwise would have. But yeah, I now know that very strange sensation of being fully awake while having my body sliced open. But that's just how strongly I hold on. It's like a death grip. I won't let go. It's so difficult, I guess, for some reason, for me to surrender. And so Friday night was another example of that. And so while I did receive medicine, and that just being a euphemism for lessons and changes and transformations, I most definitely did receive healing of all four kinds. I walked away from the ceremony a little bit disappointed, because I was disappointed with myself. I could have received so much more had I just completely released and surrendered to the experience. And I'm telling you this really in the hopes of, if you're going through something similar, commiseration. But also, just knowing that you're not alone if this is what you're going through. And it sounds simple, but it's not always so easy. We just have to keep doing the work. We just have to keep doing what we can to push ourselves more and more, while we're still feeling enough safety for us to do it. If that makes sense. Well, so anyway, that kind of reminds me of just in general, like spiritual disappointments. And I think this is important to talk about because, again, life isn't always about rainbows and sunshine. I would love for it to be, certainly, and that's what I want to bring to the world. And at the same time, there's the valleys. We have the peaks and the valleys, and sometimes, especially in spiritual